Hello, Thrivers. I'm back again to talk about unassisted birth. I get a lot of people talking about unassisted birth. I watch their birth story, I hear about their whole experience, and I feel like there's a little bit of a misconception of what it means to have an unassisted pregnancy. Because to me, there's a difference between unassisted pregnancy and unassisted birth. So today, we're going to hopefully address some of these things and help guide you if it's something you're looking into or you're considering doing for yourself. For me, I have shared my story with two of my three births. They were completely unassisted. And what that means is that throughout my 9 months of pregnancy, I had zero medical intervention. I had zero medical intervention. So I never went for any prenatal checkups. I didn't go through anything that involved a doctor or any form of medical practitioner. Okay. Um, I do want to establish the fact that I am a pharmacist and I'm also a public health practitioner. So I'm familiar with a lot of things health related. I'm not coming from zero background. However, I'm probably the last person you would expect that would choose this option because I'm in the healthcare system. But my own understanding, or for me, I feel like that qualifies me more to make this choice because I'm not completely clueless about healthcare. So I will advise you if you are scared, if you're worried, if you don't feel comfortable, then by all means have a backup, you know. But here on this channel, I'm talking about taking your power back. Our goal here is to discuss how we as mothers, we as parents, we as individuals can take control of our own life, our own health, and that includes mothering or pregnancy. Because I look at it from this angle. My grandmother, my great grandmother, my great great grandmother trusted her body, trusted her intuition, believed that she could do it. She believed she had been designed to birth child. So she did it. And therefore, her and me are one. She's here with me. She's still guiding me. And in my own belief, and this is a personal belief, it has nothing to do with any biblical principles or anything of that nature or religious or cultural, nothing. Personally, because I know a lot of Christians, I know a lot of Nigerians, I know a lot of Africans that are afraid, which I find that very hard to understand because we choose to silence our God given power because it's there. It never went anywhere, but we chose to silence it and trust what the doctors are telling us. And the doctors are using fear to guide us. With my first pregnancy, even before I ever got pregnant, I always felt like my body is designed to birth a child. But with my first pregnancy, it's my first pregnancy. So I had a little bit of fear, and I wouldn't even say I had a fear of birthing a child per se. But once I had this first experience, which was my biggest mistake, if you ask me, of going to the doctor for my first visit. And then they told me, oh, you have fibroids. Oh, and then all these midwives kept dropping me and dropping me. It made me question if I could do this on my own. So I'm going to share some of the things I did, and I'm also going to advise you to do the same things. However, what worked for me might not work for you. You can always and you should always have a backup plan. I've never really felt like the medical practice should not be a consideration. I think it's the last resort. And with my first pregnancy, I ended up with a cesarean. With my second pregnancy, I did birth in a hospital, but literally got to the hospital an hour before the baby came out. I was already 9.5 centimeters when I was there. And it got to that ring of fire. If you've heard of it, or if you've known of it, you get to that point where you feel like you can't do it anymore. And if your support system is telling you, hey, listen, this is not working, you're bleeding too much, blah, blah, blah. You don't have people that also feel strongly, they will convince you. And so, one of the biggest thing for me, I think, is you have to watch who is in your ears when you choose an unassisted pregnancy. With all my unassisted pregnancies, I didn't tell anybody. The only person that knew that I wasn't seeing a doctor was only my husband. Nobody else knew. I didn't share this information with anyone because they asked me, oh, so how is it going? What did the doctor say? Oh, they say the baby's fine. Like, I just don't go into that conversation because I knew that people are going to talk me out of that decision. They're going to convince me that I'm going down the wrong path. So, today, again, our goal is to talk about the few things you should do to prepare yourself, to prepare your mind for an unassisted pregnancy. The first thing I did, again, was to make sure I kept people out of my decision. I kept people out of my decision. But before I got there, I had to make sure that my mind was right. I had to be comfortable with that decision that I made. And I knew that I wanted to have my baby naturally. I wanted to have my baby at home. And I also wanted to have my baby without too much medical intervention. I understood the risk factors. So please, again, do not take my word. If you have high risk, I had high risk, but I would not advise every woman with a high risk to choose this option because I don't know how that's going to end up. But if you feel strongly, because I felt very strongly and I believed in my female intuition, I knew that my baby was talking to me and I had conversations with my baby all the time. And I remember I would say, if you are okay, please move so I know. And literally, that baby would move. Or if you're not okay, please let me know. Like, I was having conversations with this baby to say, if something is wrong, let me know and I will seek attention. But I felt okay and I felt assured that my baby was okay. I was having regular movements. These are some of the things I did. Number one is, before I even got here, I made a major change in my lifestyle. So for you to be unassisted, you can't be dealing with preeclampsia. You can't be dealing with any issues of, uncontrolled diabetes. Like, you can't have major issues like that and choose to be unassisted, in my opinion. So you need to make adjustments. First, you got to watch your diet. You need to eat healthy, unprocessed foods. You need to make sure you maintain your weight. You can't be gaining 70 pounds and then think everything is okay. I don't think it's a good idea, so don't do that. Okay, so you got to watch what you eat. You have to make sure you monitor a few things, right? So, um, I have notes so I don't forget some of the key things I want to make sure I address today. So, number one is being in good health preconception, which I already mentioned. Make sure that you're taking care of your own health. Make sure that 9 months to a year before conception, you start making changes to your lifestyle. You change what you eat, you change your things you're drinking. If you're a heavy drinker, you need to cut down or get rid of it. I have never really been that one person that says, oh, you can't drink when you're pregnant. You can't drink when you. I'm not telling you anything. I'm not here to judge you. You can't smoke. You can do whatever you want. But what I would advise is for you not to do those things when you are preparing to conceive. Because, oh, that's another very important thing to address. It's not just you, it's also your husband, because the sperm and the eggs are both responsible. It's not just one person that needs to make adjustment. Your husband has to change his lifestyle as well. So that's very, very, very important when you are planning to conceive, that you are both on the same page, that your husband is not drinking every night, drunk, falling all over the place. He's going to give you a bad seed. I promise you, your baby going to end up with issues. And it's not just going to be, oh yeah, even though you did all these things right, if your husband is not doing the right things, you will see the end result. So you both have to make changes to your lifestyle. That's number one. Number two, you have to monitor. For me, because I didn't go through Mind you, I got pregnant the first time at the age of 38. So I wasn't a spring chicken. Okay. I got pregnant for the first time at an older age. So what I did was I started to monitor. I have this app. What's it called? I have an app that monitors. I'm going to look for it right now, actually. I have an app that I use to help me with my period. And so I monitor when I'm on my period. It tells me when I'm most fertile, and it is what it's called my calendar. So it's what I typically use. I've used this app. I've had this my calendar app for the past maybe 10 years, and it's right on track. I've never had issues with this app. It's amazing for me. I've never used any other. That was the one I downloaded, and I've never had issues with it. So it tells me when I'm ovulating, and it tells me when my period is coming on, and it's always dead on. So I know when I'm most fertile, and that's when I try. And funny enough, it's not something I really even discuss. I don't discuss it with my husband. I don't discuss it with anyone. I don't tell anybody I'm trying. But in my mind, somewhere in there, hitting in the back, like I don't make it the center of everything I do. I'm not worried about it. I'm not stressed about it. I'm not telling myself, oh my God. Yeah, you have that little bit of disappointment when your period shows up if you want to conceive, but it wasn't something that I worried about because I always told myself if I can't have kids, then that's fine. And we had that conversation even before we got married. Like, okay, if we can have kids, we'll just adopt. It's not a big deal, right? But there's also that desire that I wanted to have my own child. So I went through these things because I did want to have a child, but I wasn't going to stress myself about it. The more stressed you are, the least likely you're going to conceive. So you got to stop stressing about it and just do the necessary things. Like take the steps that are necessary for you to get yourself to where you can have that child. And once you do those things, you won't have much to worry about. The second or the next thing you should do is consider taking prenatals. I take folate. I used to take iron, folate because I have fibroids at this point. Once I discovered, I try to take iron supplements because it helps. I take folate, I take vitamin D, I take like sea moss. Like I used to take sea moss a lot, bladderwrack. I take what else? A prenatal vitamin. I don't remember what it was called. And then I discovered pink stock. Pink stock. It's amazing. I'm going to probably link it on in my notes here, or the Amazon link. I am not affiliated with them. I'm not getting paid to say this, but with my third pregnancy, I drank that tea for 2 weeks and literally was pregnant. And I don't know if it's the tea because I had just finished my fasting prior to that. I was at the tail end of the fasting when I bought the tea. And I'm like, well, I don't know if it did it, but it was great for me. They have amazing products. I use quite a few of their products, and I think they're wonderful. Again, no affiliation, just because of my own personal experience. I like their product. So that's one thing to do. Just take a few prenatals. They will help you. They helped me. Um, the more important thing is to eat more healthy diet, obviously, but a prenatal is not going to harm you in any way. And then other thing to do is just to make an effort to live holistically and plan for a holistic birth. Like I didn't really see the need for the pool. I see a lot of people buying the birth pool. I just felt like it would be too much. I tried the bathtub and I did with every pregnancy. I get in the bathtub a little while. Um, and then, closer to the time, I tend to just get out. I don't know how advantageous it is. It has not been my experience, but I never felt called to do all of that. But, I got some herbs, to help me in case of any kind of bleeding. Um, I think I got, what was it, Angel, something Angel. I don't remember. But I got a couple of herbs just in case, and I'm gonna link them in the bio. The herbs that I used or I purchased. I didn't really use some of them. I think I used one, but the herbs I purchased just in case. And if you go on, I was part of the unassisted birth like Facebook group, and then they have the Free Birth Society. All these groups really a wonderful resource. Like they give you so much information, and then you hear and you read other women's stories that are very inspirational. So they help you through the whole process. And there are so many websites that will give you a whole package. Like, okay, you need an unassisted birth kit, and you can just buy the whole package that has everything. I just didn't see the need for a lot of these things, to be very honest. I'm like, I don't need to purchase 50 items. Like I can just use old towels. I don't need to buy towels. I can just use the scissors, and sanitize it. Like I don't need to buy special scissors. Like things like that. I just didn't feel like I should pay for a whole lot of these items. Unassisted to me is minimal intervention from anyone. And it has become, and it can be like a field in its own where now you're getting some assistance even though it's not from a medical practitioner. So I just wanted little help as possible, just trusting myself and trusting my intuition and learn about emergency interventions. So if you have any kind of prolapse, what do you do? If the baby is breech, what do you do? Like what position should you get in? If, for any reason you have excessive, I don't know, the baby comes out not breathing, things like that. You should learn about them. I remember there was a book I purchased and I just got it on Audible. So I listened to it multiple times. Birth Without Fear. That's it. There's an unassisted childbirth book as well by Laura Kaplan. People talk about that one a lot. But the Birth Without Fear I liked a lot. It's by January Harsh, I think her name is. That's the one I purchased, and I liked it. It was very helpful. It guides you, it tells you basically to trust your femininity, to trust your intuition, to believe that you can do this. It gets your mind right. It gives you meditations, that you can do throughout the whole process. And it also kind of helps you with um, emergency, in case of an emergency. If you have this emergency, this is what you do. If you have this emergency, this is what you do situation. Because when you have an emergency situation like I did with my birth where I had a breach, sometimes you panic if you are not in the right frame of mind. Like I told you, my doula panicked because she's never experienced a breech birth before. So she wasn't really sure, how to handle the whole situation. But anyways, that's that. What do you plan to do with your placenta? Do you want to keep it? Do you want to bury it? Do you want to encapsulate it? Do you want to allow your baby to have a lotus birth? Like you need to think about these things and plan them. And then after you birth the baby, what are you going to do? I chose to still go through and get a birth certificate. Some unassisted pregnancy or mamas choose not to register their baby at all. For me, I had to make sure that my husband was comfortable with that choice, but also just in case my baby chooses, I don't know what path they're going to choose in life. If they choose to go through the system, I just want to make life a little bit easier for them. So, yes, we got a birth certificate for the baby after the birth. So, because of that, I went to a chiropractor when I was pregnant because in the state of Ohio, they require you to have some documentation that someone saw you pregnant, essentially. Like you could just have stolen this baby. So they don't want a situation where this baby is registered and it's not your child. So they need some proof that you actually carried this baby. So what I did was I went to a chiropractor during the pregnancy. So after I birthed the baby, I also went to the chiropractor after I had the baby. And so I just took the one-page form and say, hey, can you fill this out and sign for me? So some people would see a doctor once through the pregnancy, and I didn't want to do that, or some people will choose to see some other doctor. I just picked a chiropractor because they're listed as health practitioners, and I'm like, hey, an adjustment never hurts. So I went and saw a chiropractor through the pregnancy, and that helped me. So, what are the key things I told you to expect in this video? That I was going to share some of the things you should do, the steps you should take to prepare for an unassisted pregnancy. And if you went through those steps, it really is going to help and make it easier for you if you choose this pathway. When I decided to go unassisted, I did not find a lot of information, and I hope that this is helpful for you in terms of what are the steps that you can take to prepare yourself for an unassisted pregnancy. First, pre pregnancy, make changes to your lifestyle to prepare before you get pregnant. Second, make sure you maintain a healthy, nutritious diet. Throughout all my pregnancies, I always gain between 25 to 30 pounds. I've never exceeded 30 pounds with my pregnancy. And a month after I have the baby, I tend to lose all of it. So it's okay for you to gain weight. You're expected to gain weight, but you don't need to eat for five to three, for three or for two, for anybody. You just need to increase your calories by a very small portion. The recommendation is 300 calories while you're pregnant. To be honest, I didn't really even do that. Like, I just tried to maintain a healthy diet and try to eat when I'm hungry. I've never really been one to measure my calories. So some days I might eat 2,000 calories, some days I might eat 3,000 calories, and then another day I could have just eating maybe, I don't know, 1,000 calories. Like, it really just depends on my mood, how busy I am or how slow I am, and what is going on that day. So I maintain my calories based on that. Um, what else? Hydrating yourself is very, very important. So I stayed hydrated as much as I possibly can. I'm a tea person, so I drank a lot of teas when I was pregnant. A lot of herbal teas that are very healing. I used slippery elm, um, burdock, dandelion, hibiscus. I drank a lot of what was it? Mm, Rubios, things like that. Um, Lemon balm. I avoided a lot of like green teas. I know people talk greatly about green teas, but they're very highly caffeinated for me. So I just really, even when they're not caffeinated, I seem to be sensitive to them. So I just don't drink a lot of green tea. So that's it. You just eat healthy, you drink healthy, and I avoid soda, I avoid alcohol, I avoid anything. I try to stay active, exercise as much as I can. I don't do a lot of rigorous exercises, but at least I'm a walker, I'm a runner. So I used to do a lot of that through the pregnancies. I did yogas with my other two pregnancies. I didn't really do a lot of yoga. I did do chiropractic adjustments through my pregnancies, with all my pregnancies. I had acupuncture with my first two pregnancies, not really with my third pregnancy. I tried my best to um, see like a chiropractor when I'm pregnant as well. And I think that's it. I did a little bit of um, just meditation and visualization, imagining myself having a healthy pregnancy and birth. Um, I talked to the baby a lot when I was pregnant. I did a lot of bathing, like I would soak myself in magnesium. It's very relaxing for the body. And so I did that a lot. I took a few supplements, like I mentioned. I took iron supplements. I took a prenatal. I took a vitamin D supplement. Um, I added a little bit iodine in my water. Lugol solution. So those are the main things. I didn't take way too many supplements during the pregnancy. And what else? I did monitor my blood pressure when I was pregnant. I have a blood monitor cuff, so I checked my blood pressure. I have a ketone urine test. Like I bought this thing on Amazon, and I can also attach these. I hope I remember to attach everything. But I bought a kit for urine testing, so you can see if you have protein in your urine, you have too many ketones in your urine, what's going on. A lot of people worry about ketones in your urine. There's nothing wrong with that, especially now that we're learning more about autophagy and all these things. Your body makes ketones. I wouldn't stress about it. So yeah, but it helps you check to see if you have blood in your urine, things like that, that would make you a little more concerned if you need to seek some medical attention. So I did that. So I maintained weight, I checked my urine, and I checked my blood pressure. Those are the main things I checked while I was pregnant. And then what else did I do? I made sure I prepared myself for the birth. I prepared, I had everything that I needed. I read some books that would help me in case of any emergencies. I had a support group, but I really limited my support group, to be honest. The only people involved in my pregnancy are typically my mother and my husband. But when I'm going through unassisted, I don't even discuss it with my mom, to be honest. I mainly just talk about it very little to my husband. He just knows that we're not going to these doctor's visits, but we don't sit and have long conversations about it. I keep most of it to myself because I don't like fear. I trust myself. 100 years ago, women will disappear and go hide in a corner and birth a child, just like dogs and cats and all these other animals do. We are not much different. Childbirth is a personal thing, it's a spiritual thing, and you really don't need to get too many people in it. So I try to keep it like that, except if I have any issues. I discuss very little because the more people hear, the more they tell you or they project their own fears, and you don't need that. You need to be in Zen mode for the whole entire time. So those are the things that I did. And then, of course, after the baby came, I made the decision. I wanted a lotus birth, but because of how my pregnancies all transpired, I did not end up having that experience with any of my pregnancies. But remember, I was a high risk pregnancy. You, my friend, are probably nowhere like me, and you're probably younger. You probably have zero things to worry about. I had fibroids, I had AIDS, I had HEP, like I had all these things that are supposedly going against me. So it made my pregnancies, even though they were unassisted, still a little more complicated compared to what you might be experiencing. So if you are young, you are the ideal candidate. Trust yourself, trust your body, trust your intuition, trust your God. You are designed, you are created to do this. And the world is telling you pregnancy is a disease. You need to be monitored. You need to be watched. You need to be poked. You don't need any of that. You just need to be yourself and to listen to your body and listen to your baby. That's it. I hope that this helped you in some capacity. If you found value in this, please share with some other mamas that are going through this and or need more information. If you have experienced an unassisted birth, please share your story. Did I miss anything? Is there anything you feel like I should have added that I took away or that helped you that I did not include in my story? These are based on my own experiences and, of course, my own background. I have learned so much with three birds because pretty much all three were unassisted, even though the first pregnancy I did see a practitioner, but it was very limited. I think I saw the midwife three times throughout my whole pregnancy. So I never really had too much hands on with any of my pregnancies. And unassisted pregnancy means zero, like nobody is involved. It's you and it's you, and you're not seeking help here and there, you know. And some people have unassisted pregnancy but an assisted birth. Some people have assisted pregnancies but an unassisted birth. You can choose this however way it works for you, what is best for you and your body and your baby. Remember, you always have to be safe and you do the right thing for yourself. And there's no judgment here. Whichever path you choose, there is zero judgment. And of course, there are so many breathing techniques I didn't mention already, but I remember now. There's a lot of breathing techniques that I practiced because remember, your body releases endorphins when you're pregnant. It releases pain relief. You don't need uh you don't need any kind of medicine when you are birthing. Trust me. Epidurals are so dangerous. You don't need an epidural. You need to trust your body, and you'll be shocked how quickly you heal. With my own assisted pregnancies, I was, or when I had my baby naturally, I noticed how quickly I bounced back compared to when I had some help, you know? So trust your body, trust your intuition, trust what your body is able to do. You are divine and you are powerful beyond your own wildest imagination. You can do this. You just have to trust yourself. And you cannot allow anything or anyone to convince you that there might be something wrong with you choosing to birth your child naturally as it was designed and intended. This is the natural way to birth. So, unassisted is the natural, normal birthing process. This whole thing with the doctors is just capitalism, y'all. Like it was just designed so that you go to the hospital on average, every woman is spending 15, every family is spending 20. Even when you have a natural birth in the hospital, you don't walk out of there without spending at least $10,000, you know? And then they will convince you to have a cesarean, double the price. It's not necessary and it's not needed. And that's not including every month visit, every other week visit, every week visit, every other day visit. Like those are all costly for no reason. If you have the need, if you have some complications, if you have issues, by all means, take advantage. They're there for a reason and there's value for them. I thank you for being here. If you made it to the end of my video, I'm grateful for you. Go, evolve, thrive, and live your best life. Thank you.